All right, today we're going over packs. What I do backpacking, canoeing, and a little bit of winter camping. That's kind of my main stuff. So I'm going to go over kind of the packs that I use for those different activities. Kind of starting with my first pack ever. I got this when I was early 20s, back in the early 90s or something like that. So, you know, there wasn't a lot of YouTube, obviously wasn't around. There wasn't a lot of ways to research stuff outside of just going to the store and kind of looking at the different packs. And ultralight wasn't even really a thing yet. So, I mean, it was bringing everything in the kitchen sink with you. 80-liter packs were a lot more common. They're, you know, being 20-something also probably had a lot to do with it, where, you know, you're just able to kind of endure a lot more pain and be willing to put up with it than as you get older. But, so a lot of what I went with this for was because, you know, you'd see a lot of Knowles pamphlets and videos and those types of things. And they tend to feature those kinds of packs because they're bringing all their stuff with them. And like I said, ultralight hadn't really come up. I'm not really an ultralight backpacker, but other people seem to think I am when I'm camping. I don't think I fall into that category, whatever the definition is of it, but I do have a pretty economical weight of a pack. I don't want to carry around a super heavy pack. I don't think my packs ever weigh more than 30 pounds, you know, and that's with food. So I think at a base weight, you know, I might be in that 20-pound range or less for an actual base weight. I don't know if that falls into ultralight or not, but you know, I'm definitely on the lighter side than some of the other stuff I start to see on the trail. So this first pack I went to with is the big behemoth here, the Arcteryx Bora 80. So I purchased this pack. It fit the gear I had at the time. The gear I had at the time was, you know, kind of my starter gear. As I started to outfit myself, it was, you know, heavier, bigger, not as compact, stuff that I used to just kind of make sure that I had something more than have to think about weight or anything like that. So I bought this pack. It's huge. When it's all loaded up, it's like carrying a big tank on your back. It's a large pack. It's got a lot of straps to kind of cinch in the load, kind of redistribute everything onto your hips. It's got the lower compartment here for, I think it's for your sleeping bag, but you know, I'm putting my heavier stuff down by my hips, so it's going to be like your food compartment, maybe your fuel canisters, your stove. I don't know, my stoves tend to not be too heavy, but you know, just that kind of stuff that I'm not necessarily going to want up higher in the pack where it's going to start pulling on my shoulders a little bit more. So anyway, it's got that compartment here. It's got the kind of cinched out drawstring compartment here, and that's what kind of separates, I think, everything from what's supposed to be your sleeping bag. How's that? There's an outside compartment here, which you can see goes up to my elbow on this. Zips down. It's a fairly large compartment. You can fit a lot of stuff in here. That's going to be your stuff that maybe you want during the day. If you could put, you could put your tent poles in here if you're carrying a tent around and have them relatively protected. That's one of my things if I'm bringing a tent. With some of my smaller packs, the poles go on the outside for me, and you get a little iffy on if I'm going to damage those or not out there. You know, if you fall wrong or something like that, they tend to be a little more exposed. This gives them a little bit of cover, but as you can see, this is all that, I don't even know what this is made of, some kind of nylon material, so it's also adding weight to this pack. You have your little Velcro wraps here for, you know, your axes. Not that you're, you know, bringing an axe necessarily backpacking with you, but I have seen it. So some people do it. I tend to put my trekking poles there when they're not in use. It's got the ice axe loop, 2 ice axe loops on it, 2 of these little Velcro things, so you can secure like a trekking pole down, so it's kind of out of the way and fastened. It has a daisy chain kind of integrated into the pack, so you can put some lashing it on there to tie something else off on the back of the pack. This is the thing that I see still on the trail. I see a lot of, especially young kids with packs like this, fully loaded, and stuff hanging off them, usually like pots and cups and stuff like that. This thing, as I said, is 80 liters, and I mean, it stores, it should be able to store everything that you could possibly want. Having stuff hanging off the back of it, off the outside of it, I think you could probably do a better job packing if that's the case. But it's got your top loading compartment here with an extendable nylon sleeve here, so for larger loads. And then the top compartment with, again, another little daisy chain on top here to tie down whatever, and your internal compartment. Which is, it's a good size. It's got the little clip for your keys or whatever you want to secure down in there. Holds quite a bit. I actually think one of my smaller packs has a larger top compartment than this. So this, what do we got in here? This also, I think, detaches and becomes like a fanny pack. There's a buckle in here, so you can kind of go off on day hikes with it. It's kind of an all-in-one pack. You definitely can pack a lot of stuff in it. An adjustable system here, adjustable torso length, and you kind of have to reach up inside it and disengage the Velcro and have to kind of pull it apart. It's one of those packs that the times I've used it, I was so uncomfortable with my load that it made the trip actually pretty miserable. What I use this for now is I've used it winter camping, kind of filling it up with some of my winter gear, some of the extra stuff you have to bring along to stay warm, and just kind of strapping it onto a toboggan and kind of with all my other gear and kind of pulling it along. It's worked really well for that. I've used it for a canoe pack. It's really good for portaging. Works great for that, especially with portaging or with canoeing. I tend to pack a little more for comfort. There's more gear. That's where the axe would actually go in that little Velcro wrap area. I would actually probably bring an axe and a saw, and those would be good spots to kind of strap those things down to the outside of the pack versus stuffing away on the inside and worrying about them kind of breaking through or anything like poking through. Also, just kind of general luggage. I mean, before I had actual luggage, suitcases and stuff, I would just kind of pack all my stuff in this, and it's good for walking around in airports and having to go, hop a shuttle or whatever you have to do in an airport. It's pretty good for that. It's a really great pack. It's got really beefy hip belts here. The padding's good. The padding on the straps is really good. But like I said, the times that I have used it was much heavier equipment, and it was way too heavy. A lot of shoulder pull. My shoulders would cramp up. I was getting, my feet were just destroyed. At the end of the day, I was soaking them in a river because they hurt so much just from the load I was carrying all day, up and down, all the rocks and rocky pads and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, there's another kind of side zipper here too to be able to get at your load. I think it's just on one side over here, so you can kind of get into this internal top compartment here and be able to kind of get at that easily. So it does have a lot of good features to it. If you're doing that kind of a trip, it's really good. Like I said, canoeing, I haven't used it for a solo because I do have some other packs for that, but it would work really good as to fit in my bow. In my solo canoe, I have a Winona Prism, and this fits really, really nicely into that bow compartment. kind of a tapered, narrow compartment. This fits really perfectly into that spot. So if I need to adjust the weight of my canoe, you know, depending on the conditions, I'll have the weight more forward or more aft, and it's a good bag for that because it fits in both those compartments really well, and you can kind of distribute your load a little bit more. If I wanted to do solo or single portages, it would be a pretty good pack for that. I would just have to make sure everything got waterproof, thrown in a contractor trash bag, something like that, to waterproof it, or just having it in individual stuff sacks that are waterproof. But doing something like that, this would work as a really good canoe bag. I looked that up online. I don't think they make the Bora anymore, but I saw a similar one, 85 liter and a 75 liter, and those were for Arc'teryx between $400 and $500. So they're expensive, but it's Arc'teryx. This stuff, I've used it a decent amount. It's not, I haven't done extensive stuff, but I mean, it's been into the boundary waters, winter, summer, it's been wet, it's been cold, it's been everything, and there are literally no nicks on this thing at all. It shows almost no wear whatsoever, and I've had this since, like I said, I think the early to mid 90s. So obviously Arc'teryx, great quality, you know, like you've heard 100 times. But you do have to pay for it, but it is a good pack. It's one of those things that sits in my basement now, but there are some uses I still have for it every once in a while. That is that pack. The next pack I purchased with the exact opposite. I actually bought it as a day pack, but it turned into just kind of my go-to backpacking pack. This has been on a 17-day trip to Europe with me, where we were just kind of riding the trains and staying in a bunch of different towns for a couple of days and moving on. This coupled with the suitcase worked really well for that. It went on an 11-day Appalachian Trail section hike. It's been to the boundary waters multiple times, been all over the country. So, I mean, this has quite literally gone, you know, to different parts of the globe with me and served me really well. I don't 100% remember when I purchased this. I want to say 2005-ish. Or something like that, but I don't remember 100%. But it's pretty old. It's an REI Flash 30. I've had great luck with REI products. I bought, you know, multiple pieces of equipment, pieces of clothing. You know, obviously this pack, really great. It's good quality stuff that, you know, is a little more economical price. There are going to be limiting factors to it that lead to that price. You know, it's not going to be as packable. It's not going to be as have as many features or whatever, but it's really good stuff. I really like it a lot. There's no frame to this pack, just a little kind of form on the inside, but there's no like real frame to it. So it's a really light pack. It's got the hip pockets on it. So one thing the Arc'teryx didn't have was hip pockets. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I do like those to put in just your day-to-day stuff, your bug sprays, your phone, maybe some snacks for the day, maybe a small knife, something like that. Something, just those things you want to kind of be able to get to quickly. I think if I keep my head net in there as well. You know, I use this for bike packing as well, so I've got my multi-tool in there. Just stuff you want to be able to get to and not have to dig for. I like those little side pockets, and this has one on each side of the hip belt. They're pretty large too, so you can fit a lot of stuff in here if you need to. I like that feature. It has an integrated water bladder pocket on the inside. I don't really use the water bladders too often. If I'm biking, I'm going to use that probably a little bit more. But when I'm hiking, it's going to be smart water bottles. In the side mesh pockets here, that's going to be my go-to water system there. So, like I said, I did use this on a section hike, and 11 days, that was with food also. All my stuff fit on the inside except for the sleeping bag and my sleeping pad, and I strapped those to the outside in a waterproof stuff sack. One I strapped to the bottom, one I strapped in and then clipped down like so, and it stayed, it was lashed to the outside of the pack. And that worked great. The thing I added was some elastic cordage through the daisy chain system here that is on it. and put a little quick draw on it, and that has worked wonderfully for that system. And the other thing, also has your little toggle straps here, and the little ice axe loops that you can put your hiking poles in when you're not using them, and like I said, that works really well. Got a little whistle integrated into the straps, into your chest strap. I don't know if this one has it or not. I don't think it does. Doesn't look like it. On the Arc'teryx, that doesn't have it there, but you have a little hole for your water bladder hose to come through down the shoulder, through here, and a little clip here to kind of hold it in place. Works really well. I've had awesome luck with this. I was actually going to throw it away after the Appalachian Trail trip because there's a little signs of wear. The seam's coming apart here, and there's another little tear up here towards the drawstring. It's starting to tear, but it hasn't completely given way yet. And then there's just kind of delaminating happening around this cinch cord where it bunches up. It's been delaminating a bit too, starting to wear through. So, but it's seen a ton of action. It's been deserts, boreal forest, mountains, southeast United States mountains, Rocky Mountains. It's been all over the place. It's been in salt water. It's been a great pack, and I've actually hung on to it because I do still use it as a day pack quite a bit, and can't seem to. It doesn't quite give way, and so I just keep using it. I think I'll keep using it until I do it. And bike packing, it's worked really well for that. So that was the REI Flash 30. I've seen this on sale for as little as like about $80, I think. But I think typically it's about $129. Then after that trip, that Appalachian Trail section hike, I kind of figured for most of the hiking that I do, I'm looking for about 40 to 44 liters is probably the ideal pack for the type of hiking that I do the majority of the time, and that led me to purchase the Osprey Talon 44. Partially, I'd heard just tons of great things about Osprey, doing the research for it. Didn't hear a bad thing about Osprey ever. They've got a great warranty, and just high quality product all around. So I picked up one of these, and I've done a couple of hikes with it, and again, it works really, really well. I really like this pack a lot. Some of the features on this this doesn't have, I should say, is that it doesn't have that daisy chain system to it, so you can't necessarily lash stuff to the outside, but it does have this little mesh pocket here to kind of put that stuff. So it ends up being the same type of stuff I put there. I put it in here. This mesh hasn't given way yet. I'm a little worried maybe about that, but Osprey's got such a great warranty that I've heard just wonderful things about it, that if it does give away, it sounds like you can just send it in and they will replace it, either fix or replace it for you, no questions asked. So I like that feature. I like that aspect to the company quite a bit. It's got a lot of little straps to kind of adjust your load as it evolves throughout your hike. You can kind of strap down weight and kind of reshape it as much as possible. You have your toggles. It has a lower compartment zipper here again, so you can have easy access to the bottom of your pack without having to dig through everything. Love that feature of it. It has just the one main compartment here, and it has a detachable top compartment. So if you're traveling and it doesn't quite meet, if it doesn't quite meet the specifications for carry-on luggage, which it always has for me, but I think when it's fully loaded, it might be a little too long. You can detach this top compartment here, and that makes it the proper length, I guess. So it's detachable. It has two compartments, a bottom compartment. Right now I just have my rain cover, Osprey rain cover in here. that's where I just kind of keep that up and out of the way. I'll put like just stuff I'm not going to deal with. That's kind of what goes in here. I might throw in the first aid kit, maybe a money clip, or what ID stuff I don't want to deal with. I don't go into this pocket too much, so there's not a lot of chance of it kind of falling out or whatever. That's what tends to go in here. Stuff I'm not going to be digging into quite as much. The top pocket, like this is the one I was talking about. This actually has a bigger top pocket, this compartment here, than that 80 liter one does. It's got a huge top pocket, so I put all kinds of stuff goes in here that I'm going to be just kind of using throughout the day. Maybe that day's food as I'm hiking along. Might have some snacks, a lunch, stuff like that. I might have first aid kit sometimes goes in here. Might have my ditty bag, those types of things I'm going to want throughout the day, and I don't want to have to go dig for. They go in there. It does have the side pockets here. They are pretty big. They accommodate, like I said, phone is a big one. My phone, camera, whatever. Same thing. I have a bigger phone, so this accommodates it. I do like it for that. These are in a weird spot, though. They're way back here, so they're kind of hard to dig into. Sometimes I have to have somebody else do it for me if I want to not pull everything out with it. That's a small pet peeve that I don't like about it, but other than that, I've really enjoyed this pack. Carries a load really well. It's got a little pocket right here for whatever. I put bug spray in there, put my energy bars, but whatever you want, just something easy to get at. Maybe this would be a good spot for my head net as well, if I want to get into that. Run into some bugs or whatever. Right now I have my head net right here. And these little compartments, there's a lot of little storage, little places to store stuff that you can kind of get at throughout the day. I love that about the pack. It has the mesh back here, so there's a little airflow going through here. I tend to sweat a lot when I have a pack on. This prevents me, especially if you can get a little bit of a breeze, keeps me from having like just a soaked through shirt in the back that I get in with the other packs. And it doesn't take a lot of effort either. That's the thing. It's like with that, holds that heat in, and I tend to sweat quite a bit with that. This has reduced that greatly. That almost alone helps me to, or leads me to want to recommend this over the other ones too. The foam pad that it has in this system is kind of a ridge system, so that also helps create that airflow going in there. But it's an extremely comfortable pack to wear. It does have a bit of a internal frame to kind of support a little heavier load. Obviously with more capacity over the 30 liter one, you're gonna have some heavier loads with that. Or you have the potential for some heavier loads with that at least, and this helps kind of support that a little bit more. So yeah, the Talon 44, love that pack. Highly recommend. Going into canoeing, a little bit different. Obviously, it's just you're paddling most of the day. Most of your stuff is going to be kind of packed up and put away. The canoe packs tend to be a little have a little less amenities to them, I guess. There's the ones I have are Duluth pack, and they are basically just a big canvas pack, leather straps, brass rivets, buckle system to kind of adjust however you want, however big the load is, however much slack you need on it. It's got a kind of a buckle system. And what I do for waterproofing then is I do have some waterproof stuff sacks for some things that they can be kind of freestanding, but mostly it's just put a construction garbage bag in here, 5 mil, is that what they are? Anyway, the thicker garbage bags, a little more durable. Roll those up, tie them, and that waterproofs everything, and then you just kind of cinch everything down. It has 3 leather straps that you buckle down and keeps everything going. These buckles right here are for a tump line. If you want a tump line to kind of have a heavier load, support some of that over your forehead, distribute it through your forehead. Some people like those. They're not my thing really. So I tend to just carry everything on my shoulders, throw your canoe over, and and go. And these work really well. They're just one big compartment. This is the bigger one. It's one of the higher numbers. They're basically, they come in number systems 1 through, we'll say 7. If this isn't the 7, it's up there. It's one of the bigger ones you can buy. I could fit all my gear into this if I needed to, but like I said, I do tend to even out the load. A lot of times you do double portages. I could do a single portage if I wanted to. If I was going just by myself, that's what I would do. But if I'm going with other people, sometimes they can't. They don't have the equipment. They don't have the setup to do a single portage. So you might split the gear up and just kind of put some in the front, some in the back to kind of distribute the weight a little bit. So yeah, so this is the bigger one. I also have a smaller version. And again, just a 3-buckle system. It doesn't have kind of the cross system. It's not as deep. And this is the tump line that fell out. This is what kind of straps into those side buckles here. Straps in through here. And comes around. And then you just kind of carry it around your forehead. I have a hat on, so whatever. But it would just kind of go around here and kind of carry that weight. Keeps you upright, keeps you from kind of hunching over. Some people, like I said, some people like it. It's not really my thing, but I keep them around just in case. And this is my smaller bag here. Again, depending on the setup I go with, I could probably fit everything into this. This would be probably my single portage bag if I were to go with that. Either this, or I could use the Arc'teryx 80-liter one. But you know, with a hammock setup or a tarp setup, could definitely get by with single portaging with this. Gives you a nice light load, throw your canoe on top, and just go, making for, you know, quicker portages, less time portaging, more time paddling, more distance covered. These are the Duluth packs. Things I don't have. I've used some other packs, and ones I like that I don't have, but I would probably purchase in the future. CCS or Cook Custom Sewing, they make phenomenal stuff. Really comfortable packs. They're freestanding. They're kind of a rigid design, so you can stand them up in your canoe. You can stand them up on the ground. They have zippers around the top to just kind of dig through your stuff. They work great. Love the packs. I really definitely want to purchase some of those in the future. I think especially for the bigger canoe trips when you're going with people. Especially the insulated food pack, you can bring a little bit more stuff, keeps the scent kind of self-contained a little more too, so you don't have to worry about animals quite as much. You can bring in that first night food, you can bring in some dry ice if you really wanted to. Again, canoeing and winter camping for that matter kind of keeps your food from freezing, but with canoeing and winter camping, it goes more about comfort and convenience than lightweight, because you portaging, rarely am I going more than a mile. Rarely. I've done longer portages, especially up in Canada. They tend to be a little more rugged, a little longer, but you know, you can deal with anything for a mile or two. You're not carrying it around all day. It's a lot easier to paddle it through the water. It actually helps with paddling your boat, I find. Gives it a little more stability when you have a little more weight in there. So I don't mind carrying extra weight with that. You know, coffee grounds over vias, bringing in a thermos to kind of keep some hot water handy and kind of so you don't have to boil water quite as often. Just all kinds of stuff. I'll bring in a little camping chair, a little Crazy Creek chair a lot, stuff that along the back of the Duluth pack that gives it some rigidity and kind of gives you a little form to that. It makes a nice backrest for your pack. But yeah, just a lot of stuff like that. And so canoeing, I'm not so much worried about weight and stuff, but if I am on a solo trip, I will maybe try and get I'll try and get single portages down because I don't like leaving my stuff, especially when it's just me. I tend to want to cover a little bit more ground than if I'm with people. So depends on the trip you're doing, I guess. But anyway, those are my packs, and I hope you enjoyed it.